wonderful. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Professor Ku, for inviting me. I'm very humbled to be here, share my research. Uh, Before talking about my research, actually, even Professor Ku briefly introduced me. I also want to introduce myself. I'm Hailey in Korean, it's Shin Haejo. I usually go by Hailey Shin. So if you search my name on Google, it's going to be Haejo Hailey Shin. Sometimes people confuse with my first name, middle name, whatever. But I usually go by Hailey Shin. Also, some people confuse me with Professor Haksung Shin because we have the same initial, but
아,
it's me. But actually, I'm honored.
신승원, 신혜조, 신학승.
Yeah, Shin H. So I'm kind of glad that I was confused with Professor Shin as well. I'm currently an assistant professor at School of Hotel Management at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Like Professor Ku mentioned that I'm actually a graduate from Kyung University, my alma mater. I received one of my bachelor's degree from Kyung University, and I was very lucky to learn from Dean Namo Chung during my undergrad study. Actually, Professor Chung's classes were one of the reasons I chose my research area, which lie in consumer behavior related to technological innovation, such as consumers' technology adoption behavior, technology consumer interactions, and so on. Sometimes I speak a bit fast. In that case, you please slow me down because I get excited and talk really fast. Today, I would like to share two of my research projects focusing on consumers' experiences with hospitality and tourism management. So we have two research projects. One was we conceptualized and developed consumers' technology experience, and we developed a scale and validate it. And in the second study, we cross-validate the scale in three sectors of the hospitality and tourism industry. One is actually in press, so you may not be able to find it. I'll start with the introduction. So technology is pretty much everywhere in this world, maybe even every second of your life. I don't think you can actually disagree with this because think about now, you're attending this seminar using Zoom, which is an information communication technology. So can you imagine your life without technology?
No.
I don't think so. No, like for me, no. I sleep with technology. I wake up in the morning with my
음,
phone and checking my emails, talk with other
음,
people, right? So, and I also asked my students if they can live a day without technology, and they were like solid no, no, not even a few hours. So we can tell technology is a really big part of our lives, and I really mean it. You may say then like, well, we live with technologies, and then so what, right? Does it really matter in our industry? Like we are like people industry. Like some people question that, but I think yeah, yes, it really matters. Now think about you traveling without technology. Like back in like 1960s, it might be possible when you actually use all those like paper book maps, then it might be possible. But like nowadays, probably no. Like for example, actually I'll be in Korea for to attend APEC, and then I'm pretty sure I'll use all those different technologies for the conference. I will need a map, like neighbor map. I need Kakao taxi because I don't know how to call the taxi. And I need to find some venue information. I need to book some restaurant for my colleagues. So all those are through technology. Like I think you're using tabling, something like that nowadays. So even though we have different patterns of using those technologies, I'm pretty confident that we need the technology everywhere. So with that in mind, the industry is actually need to think about how to best utilize technologies while maintaining the nature, the people-oriented nature of the industry. So we see consumers' demand for technology has continuous increase, and then so the industry also provide different technologies to enhance consumer experiences, like all those consumer-facing areas. But can pretty much guarantee that if you type hospitality tourism and technology together in Google, most of the results other than the academic paper result will be related to, oh, how to enhance consumer experience with technology. High tech versus high touch, actually both should be balanced. How to improve guest experience using technology. So all those are results. So it shows that it's pretty much evident that technology is very relevant to our industry, even though our industry is known to be people industry, and that is really important in creating consumer experience. And then here comes a question. So we all know that we are using technologies, like we live with technologies, right? So we kind of experience all those technologies, right? Then how would you describe your experience with hospitality and tourism technologies? It's kind of hard, right?
Mm.
How would you describe it?
Everything is belong to technology. Without technology, we cannot find our best choice and alternative choice and recommendation, everything. So I thought we have two brains. One is a physiological brain, is my real brain, and second is machine brain, embedded brain in smartphone. So we bring together all the time physiological brain. Another is machine brain and technology. So without technology in hospital and tourism business cannot, maintain, cannot exist, cannot cannot, travel anywhere, any place.
That's so true. So like you mentioned, to explain your experience with all those technology, you have to use several sentences, right? Because it's so difficult to describe. So this research actually began with this question. So wherever we go, whatever we do, and then technologies are there and we end up using them, like two brains, right? We actually do not know how to describe our experience with hospitality and tourism technology, because there is no like solid conceptualization of it. There might be different aspects, right? We see from all those news and technology become the norm in the industry, and then we expect to see more and more in the near future. Like for example, when I was an undergraduate student, we were like, wow, this is a smartphone, like the Galaxy. First time seeing it, is that smartphone, like so amazing. Can we use the internet? Like that was my undergraduate time. Now we talk about, like at the time, like, oh, there's a website. We can buy things from the website, like talking about e-commerce. Actually, I took e-commerce from Professor Jung's class, and then it goes to mobile commerce. Now we talk about extended reality, robotics. Now we talk about AI and singularity. So we pretty much live with technologies, and then we experience those technology as a consumer. But consumer experience with hospitality and tourism technology has not been fully conceptualized. That being said, we don't know how to measure consumers' technology experience as well, because there's no conceptualization, there's no way we can measure it. That brings a big problem, because the industry is making like substantial investment in technology, but they don't know like what is the outcome, like what is the outcome from this big investment. Actually, I have a student who runs 2 hotels in Shanghai, like more than 1,000 rooms, and he asked me like, "Oh, Dr. Shin, so we are planning to have more technologies because the consumer want it. Like we are in China, everybody's tech savvy, right?" And then he was like, "Oh, but like how can you check ROI? Like we have customer satisfaction survey, but like that's like pretty much everything, like checking like the room, everything. Then how do we check our ROI with the technology investment?" From business perspectives, what's the point if you don't know like what kind of benefit the technology investment brings to you? It's a big problem. So this research started with that. So we want to first conceptualize consumers' technology experience. Second, develop scale to measure technology experience. Third, validate the scale. 4, explore the impact of technology experience on other focal construct like overall experience, satisfaction, and future behavior intention. And then last, we wanted to cross-validate the scale and to see if there is any difference across the different sectors that are under our hospitality and tourism industry. And the significance of this research will be twofold. From theoretical perspectives, we define technology experience, identify its dimensions, examine the impact of technology experience on other focal construct, So the findings would provide some solid understanding of consumers' technology experience, which was, to my best understanding, it was the first attempt. Thereby, it deepens the current understanding of consumer behavior because with the technology, consumer behavior has changed as well.
Mm.
And from practical point of view, we developed the empirical measurement for technology experience. So we have to set up scale, then the industry will be able to use that scale to test their performance, evaluate their performance in creating consumers' technology experience. And they can also see how those technology experience affect other consumers' behavior intention if they are coming back because they found like those technology very useful or happy with that. Sorry, I'm speaking really fast, and this is morning, so I'm kind of thirsty. Sorry.
Okay, let me talk about the technology, the flow of technology trend, and the last few decades, like 2020 December and 2023 January. Through those 2 months, all of the world suddenly changing to the ChatGPT and conversational AI, and all of a sudden, and company and individual and organization and tech companies, they're rushing to the conversational AI. And researchers like you and me, we are jumping into the AI, the perspective and the topics context into tourism and hospitality. Before that ChatGPT emerged, we have been actively research on smartphone apps and online reviews last 1 decade. And before the smartphone, we are actively research on social media, Facebook and YouTube. And before the YouTube, we are the emergence of the internet in the middle of 1995. There was that time my college students. And before the internet, there is computers, PC, personal computers in the desktop. So the entirely 40 years, every single 10 years, suddenly the one of the big, innovative technology emerged, and then changing our life and the behavior, and we are jumping into that, issues with our capability and research. So it's a wonderful time to do research with the technology and combined with context hospitality and tourism. What do you think about that?
It's really true. Like we see a lot of different technologies are coming. Actually, one of the study I conducted with Dr. Shin, we actually reviewed like 30 years of hospitality tourism technology research, and then we really see all those different trends going on. Like we have the internet at the beginning, and then we have like a mobile app, social media. Now they have like virtual reality service robot. It was like in the middle of like AI started getting popularity, so we couldn't really capture AI at that time because there's like gap between like when you start research and then like publication, right?
Yes.
So like we all see those trends, and it was very great to see it. And then we actually thought about like future direction, like with all those technology, how we can further understand consumer behaviors with that. So I think it's really good. Thank you.
Okay.
So I'll go with the literature bit. Thank you, Professor Ko. So now technology became a big part of our lives. So the industry introduced various technologies to satisfy consumer demand for technologies. Like for example, in hotels, you see service robots for guest service. They are checking you in and out and deliver your luggage. So actually, I stayed in Guangzhou, one of the hotel, and then like I had COVID at the time. So my colleague delivered food for me, and then it was delivered by robot. Very interesting, right? And Marriott Hotel implemented voice assistant Alexa in their room so that the guests can actually adjust the room setting through their voice communication. In the restaurant, I don't even want to mention self-service kiosk, like everybody sees it. Now we have robots are delivering food. I found robots are delivering sundae-guk in the sundae-guk restaurant was very mismatched to me. Interesting. And now we have AR menus so that guests can explore more about the menu items. In the tourism context, we have different mobile apps like travel guide and translating apps so that the travelers, the international travelers, can actually translate the foreign language for them. Like I said, I went to Guangzhou. I have no idea about Chinese character. And thanks to the translator app, I was able to understand what's going on. And now, as Professor Ku mentioned, Gen AI, generative AI, gained a lot of popularity in the past like about like 3 years each, 3.5 years. And that AI has been much introduced in the industry, not limited to the back of the house. Before we talk about data analytics and AI algorithm, like revenue optimization or so, but now we are talking about front of the house operations. So we have chatbots in the front of the house to communicate with the guests 24/7, like that. Also, we have like, I think you have seen like a lot of researchers working on AI consumer interactions as well. I think last week also covered AI because I'm co-authors. I remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, as the importance of technology in the industry continues to increase, so many researchers actively conduct research on technology. So one of the seminar paper by Law et al. Shows that there are two mainstream of technology research, which are from consumers' perspective, the other being suppliers' perspective. Also, more recently in 2023, SHIN et al. Also found there are key themes in technology research. One is being consumers' adoption or utilization of technologies, and the other one is utilization of business utilization of technology. So, which is pretty much consistent with Law et al. Given the focus of my research is on consumers' technology experience, I would like to talk a little bit more about technology research from consumers' perspectives. Excuse me. In the pre-consumption stage of technology, researchers try to understand the factors affecting consumers' technology adoption behavior, like what aspect of technology, like service robot, affect consumers' adoption behavior. Like if the robot looks like human, does it affect their adoption intention? Or if they found it like very functional, are they like affecting consumers' adoption? And during the like consumer technology interaction stage, researchers focus on like how consumers evaluate their interaction with the technology. Like before, we talk about human-computer interaction, but nowadays, like all those consumers actually perceive those technologies as social entity as well. So it became like more and more. So human-robot interaction, human technology interaction, human AI interaction or so. And in the post-consumption stage, researchers identified what kind of outcome does consumers' adoption of technology or interaction with technology bring to, such as like satisfaction, not limited to technology-specific satisfaction, the entire satisfaction at the destination, hotel or so, and also further behavior intention. Like, does the use of technology make them to come back to the hotel? But while there are a lot of studies going on in the consumer interaction with technologies, there are not much actually discovered about like what is consumers' experience with technology yet.
Questions?
Yes, please.
Dr. Shin, like previous slide, you are introducing several theories related to free technology adoption and consumer technology interaction and post-technology adoption, which is quite relevant theories for our context. However, as technology deeply into our life, I think technology more closely related to psychology and sociology. And so I think we have to review further seriously about those kind of the theories come from the psychology and sociology. So far, the theories, technology acceptance and youth innovation diffusion theory and soft-core, which is a very successful theory and a very profounding theory for our, the academia. but I think in the middle of the AI emergence and human and hybridity effect, I think it's a psychology is in the sociology. We should cover those theories and enlarge the theory boundary better than this the dominant theories. What do you think about that?
Yeah, actually they were at the beginning, like before we focus on like technical substance model you taught also, but now I see more papers are using like social response theory, social exchange theory. So like researchers are consumers are looking those technology as social entity, and then they actually think about their interactions with those technology. So more theories are now applied from used from psychology and sociology, I guess.
Okay.
So I also see the shifting in the theory.
Right.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yes.
Thank you. Also, experience is a very important concept in psychology. Like Professor mentioned, it's important in psychology and also consumer behavior. Because our industry, our discipline is applied science. We actually base on psychology and sociology. So our root will be psychology. And many researchers have defined experience from different contexts, including general consumer behavior. I am pretty confident that most of you are familiar with the experience economy by Pine and Gilmore, the definition of experience from Hirschman and Holbrook, like also. But the concept of experience is actually even more important in our industry. Why is it so important? Because we are selling experiential product. Like we are not selling the physical room. Like you're not getting a room. You're actually kind of getting a room, but like you don't have the room. You're getting a nice stay at a hotel. Your dining experience at a restaurant. Your experience at festival events or Disney experience, like in Korea, Lotte World, I guess. So we are selling experiences. And also researchers mentioned that we are one of the greatest generator of experience. So experience is a really important concept in our industry. Because it's so important, it has been studied a lot in our discipline. So researchers define tourism experience like tongue and reach, conceptualized tourist experience as tourist subjective evaluation of the events about their entire tourism activities. We also recently have another paper about hospitality experience. I think it was in 2019, and that it mentioned that the hospitality experience occurs from the interaction between the consumer and service environment. And then the concept of experience will further specify to specific context, like not in general. So now we're talking about wine tourism experience, memorable tourism experience, heritage tourism experience by Prof. Dean Chung out there, hotel guest experience, and so on. While experience has been defined in like so many different contexts from various perspectives, we could find a common ground. If you see that, many researchers suggested that consumer experience is multidimensional in its nature. That being said, like different various dimensions of experience collectively represent consumer's experience. So it might be difficult to think. So I'll give one example. Somebody asked me like, how has been your research experience? And then it's also hard to answer with one sentence because there are so many things to talk about. Like intellectually growing, that's a good thing. Physically aging, I'm like really getting old, getting white hair. So and the emotionally fluctuating, like when your result is significant, I'm like so happy. When it's not supported, I'm very depressed or so, right? So there are different aspects. So we were able to draw a conclusion that experience is a holistic and multidimensional concept.
Okay, here's my questions.
Yes.
I will understanding what you explained to us about experience in tourism and hospitality context.
Yeah.
But however, we still should consider importantly the utility. Utility like a tourism utility, tourism product, and hospitality utility sort of things. So according to the Pine and Gilmore's perspective, utility and branded product and that's differentiated product is still very important for our lives.
Yes.
Experience itself is not cover everything's from the bottom of the humans, necessary needs and motivations, desire.
Yeah.
So if we stressing too much experience itself, probably there's something, half and half way an incomplete covering tourism context. So what do you think about this? Because we're still selling product and brand.
Yeah.
But if we read too much experience itself, experience is kind of satisfaction, kind of a psychology, kind of a mental status coming from that actual product we use.
In my humble opinion, because we are all human, we are very subjective. So, and then whatever service encounter we see, then we subjectively evaluate our interaction. And then that's actually the definition of experience, individual subjective evaluation of all the service encounter. So even though there's branded product or so, we also have the concept of brand experience. So I think that is part of it. Because when we encounter with the branded product, we subjectively evaluate it, right? And that I think becomes kind of experience to me. We also can kind of try to objectively evaluate it, like its utility or so, but also like because we are still human, so I don't think it can be like completely objective. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you. So we did some review literature review, and then we were able to find some dimensions that were frequently found to be components of experience. I color coded it so that you can find. Many researchers included sensorial, cognitive, emotional, social, pragmatic, and behavior responses as dimension of experience. Excuse me. So coming back to my research experiencing. So my research experience can be described like emotional, fluctuating a lot, happy or sad, cognitive because I learned something. I have some mental processes, which is cognitive experience. I have social experience because I was lucky enough to know Professor Ku, Din Namu-chong, and like our colleagues, which developed my social belonging. And I also have sensorial aspect and behavioral aspect as well. Another similarity in the researcher's definition of experience also included that experience occur from the interaction between the consumer and service provider or environment. Like I said, consumers are subjectively evaluating their encounters. So based on the literature review, we actually define technology experience as a consumer's unique type of experience that occurs from their interplay between consumer and technology. And consumers holistically assess their complex interactions with technology. So this is our conceptualization of technology experience. We found some potential dimensions of technology experience from literature review, and which are sensorial, pragmatic, emotional, relational, and cognitive experience. So sensory experience is defined as consumers' experience that is generated from sensorial stimuli. That being said, it occurs when technology appeals to your senses. Like for example, if a virtual reality technology gives me a vivid landscape of Gyeonggi-land out there, like where cherry blossoms like amazing, then it gives me like visual stimulus. It creates sensory experience. If I go to a hotel room, it smells like there's like smart technology giving you like lavender smell, then it also olfactory sensory experience. Cognitive experience is related to consumers' conscious mental processes. Like you learn something, problem solving, you get some kind of creativity. Having said that, it occurs when technology help you engage in mental processes. Like I like drinking, but I don't know a lot about wine. So like I go to wine bar, and then there's tabletop tablet. Actually, I went like near Kyung University, and then there was tablet giving you all those information about wine and like giving some recommendation for wine pairing. And then I learned some information from the tablet, and I can apply so that I can get the perfect combination of wine and food. So I use my mental process that can be seen as cognitive experience. So let's say you are using your mobile app, and then you learn about the destination, and then like you get your understanding of the destination will be like better after that. So that can be also seen as cognitive experience. Relational experiences relate to your social connection and identity. So like so oftentimes technology also allow you to interact with other people or technology itself, like because technology also can be seen as social entity from sociology perspective. So let's say if you are new to the destination, and then you don't want to travel alone, so you find somebody some travel companion. I think you call it 동행. Like there are a lot of community to find travel companion, right? Then that enhance your social connection with others, like that allow you to connect with other people. So that can be seen as relational experience. Emotional experience is related to consumers' feeling, sentiment, and emotion, and that are pretty much context specific. So let's say you find a robot like that, that's very cute, and you find out, oh, that's so cute, that's interesting. So like pretty much positive feeling that can be seen as emotional experience. And then like Hannah told before, there's like very humanoid robot, and then you find it very creepy, like ew, like I don't want to talk to that. That's also negative feeling that can be seen as negative emotion and emotional experiences. And like Professor Kuhn mentioned, the utility, the systematic quality of technology should not be neglected, because that is the kind of main purpose of using technology, right? So pragmatic experience refers to consumers' experience that is related to the practical act and usability. Let's say I went to Guangzhou and I have no idea about Chinese, so I used Translate app and I found it very useful and pretty easy to use. Like you just like use camera and it displays the English on the screen. I can understand, right? So I found it very useful and easy to use. So that is pragmatic experience. These are the 5 dimensions that we were able to find from the literature review. So for your information, when we first thought about hospitality and tourism technology, there were so many different technologies and their role varied a lot. So because it's an initial project, we decided to think about it in a general sense, like all those hospitality and tourism technology in general. And then like now we know what is technology experience because we just conceptualize it. But we still don't know what's gonna be the impact of those. Like, it's not meaningful because like there's so what question to answer, right? So the consequences of technology experience were also explored.
Okay, before we go further, I have one comment and questions. The comment pretty much technology experience you comprise of 5 dimensions, sub-dimensions, which is reasonably acceptable: sensorial and emotional, pragmatism and cognitivism, and relational. However, that is coming from previous literature reviews. But in the era of AI, in the era of metaverse, in the era of a robot, and those 3 the things are combined together. So probably when we use in metaverse, the way we looking at things in metaverse, probably we articulate certain types of image and design and things, and then we articulate, oh, there is sensorial, emotional, pragmatic. But however, we don't know exactly in the metaverse world if we define it 5 sub dimensions for metaverse, something lack of definition. And also something like we are doing conversational AI with a robot. Probably we try to define those things, sensory or pragmatic or cognitive. So far, I think those kind of three things, AI, robot, and metaverse, do we need additional something sub-dimensions for measuring about the new things?
Thank you for a great point, Professor Gu. Actually, we did some more later because it was the
Okay.
starting point. Also,
Okay.
about the AI, because the initial study was done before AI's emergence, like the ChatGPT. So some are not really reflected, and then we also see like technology as in general. So like, all those different technologies are included. So some might be emerging in when you're using this technology, some might not emerge in that technology. So actually, the potential dimensions were further investigated later, and then it's actually coming soon.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Actually, I was gonna cover that, and then you brought it up.
Yeah, like think about the AI conversation. When we conversation with the ChatGPT, we cognitively experience human-like conversation, which is very cognitive and which is very emotional. And then sooner or later, the ChatGPT combined with a robot, and robot talking to me, and then probably we can feel like a sensorial, like a touching and sort of things. So there is 5 dimensions of the experience, but depending on that combination is that sub dimensions probably they're serially, parallelly, and all kinds of emotional series is differently adaptations. Sometimes concurrently, sometimes serially, sometimes sort of undefinable emotions.
Yes, that's
We
so
will
true.
get.
Depending on the type of technology, consumer technology experience, the dimension might be different as well, and the weight, the significance might be different. So actually, the fact that we consider the technology in general was one of our limitation. Also, we in the follow-up study, we try to have like different types of technology, but the penetration rate was quite different, so we couldn't really compare.
Okay.
So we are still waiting to for those technology reach certain penetration rate so that we can compare consumers' technology experience by specific technology.
Yes.
Thank you. So like I mentioned, we talk about like different experience in from both broad and narrow perspectives. For example, your entire hospitality and tourism experience, like overall experience, can be divided into hospitality part and tourism part. And then within the hospitality, you can further divide it into lodging experience, dining experience, and the tourism section, you have festival experience and so on, transport experience and so on. So like I said, I'll be traveling to Seoul, South Korea for APEC. That will include my hotel guest experience because I'll be staying in hotel. I will eat out there, dining experience. I'll attend conference, event experience. I need to take taxi or so, transportation experience and so on. So all these are part of the overall experience. In a similar vein, technology is part of our overall experience, I would say. We know that technology is not the core of the industry, but they're still playing a supporting or a facilitating role, right? And that definitely take a part of the overall experience. Like I go to IPEC, I need to check in. I'm 100% sure I'm not going to line in the front desk to check in. I'll just use the self-service kiosk because I don't want to line in. So that my experience with those check-in kiosks will be part of my hotel lodging experience, right? I also use tabling to book a restaurant or use those tablet to order in the restaurant. That will be part of my dining experience. So based on that, we thought that technology experience would affect my overall experience. Therefore, we hypothesized that. Given the primary focus of this research is really on the technology experience, and then those outcomes are pretty much supported a lot in the literature. So I'll just briefly cover the consequences. we all know that satisfaction has been the outcome of experience. Like you subjectively evaluate if your the performance exceeding the expectation, satisfaction occurs. But we need to know that satisfaction is holistic assessment of different service encounters. So rather than just looking at the overall satisfaction, we followed one research by Zhao et al. I forgot the year, but they actually divided the satisfaction into transaction-specific satisfaction and overall satisfaction. So taking the transaction-specific satisfaction, we consider technology satisfaction, and we also have overall satisfaction.
Mm. Mm.
And then through all those theories, we may need to think about more psychology theories, but we found that experience, satisfaction, behavior, intention are strongly related through based on cognitive dissonance theory and balance theory. So we hypothesize those relationships.
So like one question, like
yes.
you mentioned the transactional satisfaction.
Yes.
Usually when we feel like transactional satisfaction coming from the utilitarian, things, when I adopt and use like ATMs, I usually transactions, put my money into the ATM and withdraw my money, and which is very convenient, and that's the kind of a transaction. So when we are at a certain destination, we can use the application apps. That's the transactional satisfaction. However, people are enjoy the pretty much mental stuff like that. That's not a transactional satisfaction. That's kind of a emotional satisfaction, something like that. So versus transaction and okay, go ahead.
So the transaction made in their study was actually one service encounter, like one touch point. So we consider that as touch point, but not really like ATM transaction, but it was more of service encounter. Okay. So we found we considered their interaction with technology as one transaction, and then we hypothesized that.
So before my study, I classified two types of satisfaction. One is transaction satisfaction, another is experience satisfaction. Usually trouble, things product and service, like when you said encounter once and twice a third, there is a transactional satisfaction when I use technology. However, like experience satisfaction is overall experience, emotionally, mentally, and cognitively.
Yes.
So I argue there should be measured two types of satisfaction. One is transactional, another is experience, and then overall satisfaction.
Actually, we consider transaction satisfaction as like their satisfaction with all those encounter with technology. So because like if there are 3 levels, it's a bit difficult from a feasibility wide. So actually, I consider as like their interactions plural with technology.
Okay.
Thank you. So this is our research model. So on the left side, we have the 5 potential dimensions of technology experience, and on the right side, we have outcomes of technology experience. So this is a scale development paper. We have a lot of stages in the methodology and results. To achieve the research purpose, we actually use mixed method. We use sequential exploratory approach. So starting with the qualitative part, and then follow up with quantitative inquiry. And also we followed the scale development procedures to offer more rigorous findings. So we consider 4 different scale development papers, and then we compare all those and then got the longest steps to make sure our findings are rigorous enough. So this research was guided by a sequential exploratory approach and scale development procedure. So there are multiple phases in this research. We start with conceptualization, and then we develop a measurement, assess the initial measurement, and then refine it. And then after that, after refinement, we validate the measurement and also cross-validate the measurement. So from more broad perspective, the first 2 were qualitative and the last 3 are quantitative. So the first phase was conceptualization. It was the many researchers emphasized that conceptualization and domain specification is very important because it's related to the the validity of what is being measured. So like without conceptualization, you don't know what that is. There's no way you can measure because like the item may not be reflecting the concept. So we conducted an extended review of literature to find a defined technology experience. And then based on the literature review, we found that technology experience might be multidimensional. So we wanted to identify the potential dimensions of technology experience. And then we conceptualized technology experience as a second order construct, has like multiple dimensions. So we had to think about the nature of the construct. Is it reflective or formative? So we did that from the literature review. Oh my God, my tongue is being twisted. Sorry. It's like so morning. So we found that. So we found those 5 dimensions from the literature review, but those dimensions might not be able to fully represent the nature of technology experience. First of all, technology has a relatively short period, but it developed exponentially in the past few decades. But the literature are based on tourism hospitality, like psychology, and that has like fairly long history, right? So it might not really reflect the fast change in technology development. So we thought further investigation of technology experience was really imperative. Otherwise, it cannot really thoroughly represent every single aspect of technology experience. So we actually took another step to identify potential dimensions of technology experience that might not be found in the literature review. So we wanted to increase the comprehensiveness of the construct domain of technology experience. So like the purpose is we wanted to increase phase and content validity. So the phase 2 included 5 stages. We conducted 2 focus group discussion. And based on the literature review and focus group discussion, we generated initial items. And then the items were refined based on 2 expert reviews. So rather than just going directly into the discussion, we actually develop a discussion protocol. We use lettering technique. So we start with like very simple question, and then the inner focus group leader can actually dig in to more concrete level so that they can actually find the underlying thoughts of the discussant. So the first discussion was aimed to explore the potential dimensions of technology experience. And the second one also, I wanted to identify potential dimensions as well as to make sure all the dimensions of technology experience were captured through the literature review and the first focus group discussion. If it was not fully captured, we would do one more. But fortunately, the discussion result indicated that we kind of reached to information saturation point because same theme came up from those discussion. So we did not conduct any additional discussion. To identify the theme, it was a very painful process. We did like 5 codings one by one. Yeah. And then we integrate those coding in subcategory and then like early themes. And those themes were actually compared with what we found from literature review to make sure they were comprehensible. We had a total of 11 discussants participating in the focus group discussion. Because this discussion was conducted in the middle of COVID-19, it was like before AI and it was middle of COVID-19. So most of discussants used their technology in F&B sector to order food because at the time, US had like kind of have social distance policy, so we couldn't really go to the restaurant to eat. So we all ordered. So it was pretty prevalent. So one of the limitations, I guess. So, and we found 4 more dimensions from the focus group discussion. So it suggested that there were actually 9 dimensions of technology experience. We also found the 5 I mentioned in the literature review and found 4 more. As I've already explained the first 5 earlier, so I'll just focus on the last 4. So unique experience occurs when consumers find something unique from their interaction with the technology. Again, this discussion was conducted in the middle of COVID before ChatGPT. So it was like robots are pretty new at the time. And some discussion actually mentioned that they did not expect to see certain types of technology. they thought it's like, wow, so robots in there, they are like supposed to be in the movie, not in real life. So they found it very futuristic and unique. And it's a bit different concept. It's familiar experience. This was possible because we consider all different technologies in a general sense. So familiar experience means consumers experience that are pretty much predictable or similar to their daily life. So like many technologies are fairly universal. So like in Korea, we have neighbor map for like trouble. We need to find the direction. We use neighbor map, I guess. And here in Hong Kong, I use city mapper, which is pretty much similar. And then back in the States, I use Waze. So pretty much similar. So they are fairly universal because the country is different, but what they do is pretty much similar. So they found it very familiar. And
But you
control.
know, it's for seniors or inexperienced person, like a familiar experience is something different. You know, if the people frequently use Google Maps, and then once they come to Korea and they're suddenly changing to the neighbor maps, it's a function, and then the click button is a so different position and different style, different design. It's unacceptable to them. So
Oh, is it not really acceptable to them?
yes, can you imagine? Have you used the German maps in German, not the
I've
Google Maps?
never been to Europe. I'm sorry. Sorry, I only been to
Good
US and
excuse.
Korea. Sorry, but sometimes I would find like when I first came to Hong Kong, uh,
Uh,
the user interface is a bit different, but
uh,
feel like the purpose, like the functions they are providing is feels a bit similar.
mm,
So like later up at the beginning, there's kind of barrier, but at the end, I found it very similar. So
mm,
that was my understanding of familiar experience.
mm, okay. See.
Because like one of the discussant mentioned that like I go to let's say I go to Korea, I
Mm,
use Yelp. I go to Hong Kong, I will use Yelp. Like I go to somewhere, I'll use TripAdvisor, Yelp. So I'm doing the same thing. So that's
mm,
what they said. So I thought it's kind of
mm,
familiar experience.
mm, mm,
Controllable experience is consumers extended control over
mm,
their trouble. Because
mm,
now, thanks to IoT, we have real-time information, and then consumers are able to adjust their trouble itinerary based on
mm,
like the situation. Like I want to go there, but seems like there's a long line based on these apps, so I'll just go somewhere else first and then come back. So they can
mm,
actually adjust. So they have a kind of greater degree of flexibility during
mm,
their trouble. And the last one is economical experience. So it's related to cost effectiveness. Like at the time, many organizations were providing rewards or incentives to encourage consumers to use those technologies.
mm,
I use I I use a lot of actually I order McDonald's almost every day using my
mm,
phone, and then
mm,
almost every time there is some discount, like $3 off
mm,
for your Big Mac or free upgrade to large meal.
mm,
So people found it more affordable and they can save some money.
mm,
So those four dimensions are newly found dimensions. So we developed technology experience as second order construct, and we actually consider it as formative construct because of the nature of the concept. The first, it was multi-dimensional construct. The 9 dimensions represent altogether. Reflective construct require unidimensionality. And those 9 dimensions seems are a bit difficult to see as one dimension because the nature is so different. So formative construct was more appropriate. And if you look at the direction of causality, it's from first order to second order. So it is like 9 dimensions are driving technology experience rather than technology experience driving the 9 dimensions. If you're because like many of you are students, so explain more. So direction of causality, like simple example is social economic status. Like my education level, salary, like family background, all those are driving my social economic status, rather than my social economic status driving my education level also. So the direction is from first order to second order. And lastly, the nomological net of the dimension might be different. So some of the construct that the antecedent of, let's say, pragmatic experience might be different from that of unique experience because the nature is different. So we thought technology experience will be secondary formative construct in this study. And based on the literature review and focus group discussion, we found 9 dimensions. And then it's time for developing initial items. Researchers mentioned it's always better to have over-inclusive item than under-inclusive, because if you have under-inclusive items, some aspect might not be covered in the measurement. So we decide to have at least 7 items per dimension because it's initial. Some might be dropped later, so we just have like a lot. And then after initial development of the initial items, we revise so many times to make sure it is understood, could be understood by laymen. So those are some initial items we develop. And then because maybe we are stuck in our own thoughts, so we found that it's much better to have experts review our scale just to make sure that the contents and feasibility are sufficient. So we try to invite a lot, but we so invited 16 experts, but only 6 experts end up helping us. Half of them were academic professional, and half of them were actually industry professional, like working in the technology area.
It's surprising to me you can maintain discriminant validity among those 5 or 8 or 9 the subdimensions. It's quite difficult.
Oh, we were very lucky that our expert helped us a lot.
Okay.
So when we hand out our expert review document, we wanted to make sure everybody understands the concept. So like we wanted to prevent some issues from miscomprehension of the concept. So we provide the definition and examples of hospitality and tourism technology. We gave all the list we have. And then we also provide the definition of technology experience, the second order definition of technology experience without giving the dimensions. And then we have like all those lists randomly placed items. And then we ask the reviewers to group those items based on their similar conceptual domain. And in the second review, we asked the reviewers to evaluate the representativeness of the item. So in the second review, we actually gave the definition of each dimension as well. And then there were 2 rules for item retention. We wanted to make sure the average review score it should be greater than moderately representative, because otherwise it's not going to be representative of the concept. And then we also check the inter-rater reliability score. So it should be at least moderate reliability, but we actually end up having substantial reliability. So at the beginning, in the initial item pool, we have 120 items, which is a lot. And then based on the first expert review, some items were modified, some were dropped. And after the second review, we dropped some items, those items with a low review score, and then a low agreement level. So at the end, we have 83 items with moderately representative and having substantial reliability. And then the few items were further deleted because 83 items way too many, because it also can cause survey fatigue, which affect data quality. So we found some items were actually redundant because we wanted to make over-inclusive items at the beginning. So we deleted some items that are redundant and end up having 62 items in total. And each dimension had at least 5 items. So it's still fully identified. So we developed a scale in phase 2. So this time we need to assess. We cannot really use the scale without testing it. So we tested the factor structure of technology experience to make sure technology experience has 9 dimensions, and also evaluate conversion and discount validity, as well as internal consistency. So we use online survey at the beginning just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So we provide the definition and examples of tourism technologies, and also provide some examples. And we ask them to provide their usage pattern of technologies, and also measure technology experiences, and as well as some expected outcome, just to make sure we are within the nomological net of technology experience. Before collecting the data, we make sure the sample size is enough because it's a lot. So at the beginning, we considered MP ratio, the subject to item ratio. but it was recommended to have like 3 to 6 to 1 ratio. But it seems like technology experience is way too complex in nature, so we just aim for greater than MP ratio of 6. So we targeted 400. We wanted to make sure all those factor structure is correct because we spent a lot of effort. We wanted to make it correct. So we used multiple methods to identify the factor structure. We started with EFA, exploratory factor analysis, with Promax rotation because some of the dimensions looks like correlate. So we use oblique rotation. And then we also use principal component analysis, parallel analysis, and simple structure. And the number of factors were determined based on also multiple criteria, like K1 criteria known as eigenvalue greater than 1, scrape plot, the elbow method, parallel analysis, and simple structure. And once the underlying factor structure was identified, we also conducted CFA, confirmatory factor analysis, and we wanted to cross-validate the factor structure with the CFA. So we did both covariance-based and component-based. And then the item retention and diligence were actually based on the each item's significance and loading. We also tested reliability. And then we got 401 complete responses. And the sample composition was pretty much reflecting well of the population of interest. So the results of EFA, PCA, and simple structure show that the number of dimensions for technology experience was actually 9, which is the same with our 8-parameter model. And then parallel analysis suggested like the number of factors between 8 to 13, which include 9. So we thought it's pretty much consistent. During the EFA and CFA, we deleted some items because of the cross-loading. And then during the CFA, we deleted 26 items because they have low loading and multicollinearity. And the results were actually very satisfactory. The fit was great, conversion and discriminant validity were supported, the Chromebox alpha and company reliability also high enough to show us internal consistency. I mean, we know like there are a lot of items in the survey, and even though we put different type of scale, like we have Likert followed by semantic differential or so, just to reduce common method bias, but we also want to double check that there's nothing related to that. So we test the common method bias with Herman's test, and there is no evidence of common method bias. I was so happy when I saw no evidence of common method bias. And then we also did component-based measurement model test and also showed convergent validity was supported and discriminant validity was supported. Also, we found there is satisfactory internal consistency. And most importantly, as you can see from the table, the results confirm the hierarchical nature of technology experience. So we could tell technology experience was a second-order formative construct with 9 dimensions. Actually, we have one more construct saying technology experience using overall experience measure. Like it's not like my experience with the destination. It was like my experience with the technology was something. And then actually the discriminant validity with our developed technology experience and that technology experience was not supported. So it is pretty much the same. Oh, so happy. We also did some vector invariant tests to make sure this is invariant. So the chi-square difference test showed that configural metric scalar invariants were established. So the vector structure was pretty much acceptable. Because we initially assessed the scale and then we refined some. We deleted 26 items. So we need to make sure those are like really good. So in phase 4, we validate the scale. In phase 4, we also tested the nomological validity of technology experience. Actually, we tested in phase 3 as well, but we deleted some items. So we thought it might be better to test hypothesis in phase 4, not in phase 3. The survey composition was the same with phase 3, other than the fact that the number of items for technology experience was reduced to 36 because we deleted 26 items. The sample size was decided based on this time Hailey's recommendation, like the 10 times rule. For the 10 times of format, the one construct. So technology experience is one construct, like big construct. So we at the beginning we thought having 300 something, but we wanted to conduct factor invariance tests. So we doubled the sample size to make sure there is enough power. So we aim for 750. We use PLS SDM because it is more appropriate in this nature of the construct, because the study was exploratory. Nothing has been done about technology experience. And the concept of technology experience is formative. So in that case, it is recommended to use PLS SEM. We got a total of 777 responses. Sample demographic was pretty much similar with our previous data collection. Still, it was done in the middle of COVID. We found there was sufficient convergent validity. All the factor loading were greater than or equal to 0.7, except one item of unique experience. But we did not delete the item because it was significant indicator of unique experience. Also, with the low loading item, we found that the ABE was greater than 0.6. So we found that there was convergent validity. Also, we found sufficient discriminant validity and internal consistency. Also, there was no evidence of common method bias. Thankfully, all the 9 dimensions were also true dimensions of technology experience. So it is indeed a second-order formative construct with 9 dimensions. We also conducted factor invariance tests. We randomly split the sample into 2, and then we tested with one with covariance based and one with component based. And both showed that there is strong invariance with up to step 3. So the measurement model was successful, so we tested the hypothesis. As you can see from a figure here, R-squares, the adjusted R-square all greater than 0.5, we can tell there was substantial predictive accuracy. Also, all hypotheses were supported. So technology experience was a positive predictor of satisfaction and overall experience, and technology satisfaction positively influenced overall experience and overall satisfaction, where overall experience affects over satisfaction, thereby leading to positive behavior intention. And the last phase was about cross-validation, which is another project. So researchers emphasize a lot about cross-validating scale in scale development procedures. Like, let's say you develop and validate once, it's not going to be generalized. So also some researchers mentioned the important role of empirical generalization. I guess you learn from theory class. So many scholars actually have developed scale, devalidate scale, and also cross-validate scale. And we were thinking about the nature of the industry. Like, we are a so-called umbrella industry. We have multiple sectors under that. They are interrelated, but actually having distinctive characteristics. So consumers' technology experience might be context dependent or sector specific. That being said, the generalizability should be further examined. So in phase 5, we wanted to cross-validate the scale, and then if there is any, check if there is any potential differences in consumers' technology experience in 3 sectors of hospitality and tourism industry. One is lodging accommodation, second one is food and beverage, and the last one is general tourism. So we conducted 3 studies, and at the end we contrast and compare. Study 1 was accommodation, second is F&B, third is tourism. Because we wanted to compare and contrast, the study design were the same, other than the screening question at the beginning. The data collection method analysis were pretty the same. We also used PLS-SEM, like I mentioned, because the nature is formative, and we also tested factor invariance, and we also conducted some post-hoc analysis. The respondent profile was, we got like more than 1,800 sample size altogether. And then they were pretty much similar because we requested cultures to control it. It was expensive study. The measurement model test was very satisfactory in all studies. I summarized that here. Loading and AB were greater than the threshold, showing the convergent validity. Internal consistency was supported as shown in alpha and composite reliability. and also discriminant validity was supported using both HTMT and also coronary larger criterion. And there was no presence of common method bias. Gladly, we found that the 9 dimensions existed in all 3 studies. Yeah, I almost cried. I was so happy. So the technology experience was really second order construct with 9 dimensions collectively representing it. And we found the positive impact of technology experience on overall experience. And as you see, actually, I have dimension-wise path because even though we developed a second order, I wanted to check if there's any varying impact of each dimension on overall experience. And the result indicated that technology experience dimensions, those dimensions have actually varying impact on overall experience by sector, which probably support the distinctive nature of each sector under the industry. And the other relationship, like overall experience, satisfaction, intention, were pretty much the same across 3 studies, all positive, really significant. We found the varying impact of technology experience dimensions. So we actually want to conduct multi-group analysis because we thought the top we cannot really draw statistical conclusion. So as a prerequisite for a multi-group analysis, we tested measurement invariance by sector. It's not random split, it's by the sector study. And then we found that compositional invariance, up to compositional invariance was established, which is step 2 here. But we found that means and variances are actually divergent. So we only found partial measurement invariance. The literature still mentioned that it's okay to conduct multi-group analysis with partial measurement invariance. But when I look at it more in depth, we found that those variances were pretty big, like not really negligible. So rather than conducting a multi-group analysis, we wanted to know what is the potential regions behind those differences. So we checked the consumers' usage pattern of technologies, and then we found that some are quite different in their usage pattern. So we conducted chi-square tests, and then there are some significant differences. So for example, we found that self-service technologies were most frequently used in the F&B sector. I believe this is because there are so many self-service kiosks in the restaurant, like ordering. Informative mobile apps were more frequently used in the tourism sector. I guess this is because there are like a lot of travel-related mobile applications, like mobile travel guides. Booking and reservation were popular in the accommodation sector, followed by tourism. So I guess this is related to like many consumers are using their phones to book hotel room or flight. Also, this was kind of supported by our discussion because like the discussion mentioned that, oh, I use my phone to book a hotel or flight, but actually I called a restaurant to get a table. So it feels like that. And social media was pretty much used in F&B sector and tourism because I guess this is because like many people share their experiences on their like Instagram or share their experiences on like online travel community. And extended reality was popular in tourism sector. I think this is because it was conducted in the middle of still it was in the middle of COVID. Like there were still some travel restrictions, so people use virtual reality to feel the travel feeling. We saw the difference in their consumption pattern of technology, so we also compared the mean values of technology experience. So we just create composite variable and conducted ANOVA. Even though the factor invariance test shows that there is difference in the mean and variances, we still want to test with ANOVA. We found some differences as well. Sensorial experience was significantly higher in tourism than food and beverage. I think it's because extended reality technologies are more commonly used in the tourism. And F&B customers have like lower cognitive experience than other sectors. We assume that this is because F&B consumers use like self-service kiosk a lot. We don't use it, like you don't learn a lot. But when we use like tourism technology, you learn something out of it, like mobile travel guide, or like if you use hotel concierge mobile app, then you communicate with them and then you learn about hotel's facility or so. And tourism consumers had a higher relational experience, because I think like many people find trouble companion through the community, also share their experience on online trouble review. We found that the controllable experience is a little bit higher in tourism sector because like all those real-time information, they adjust their trouble. So I'm almost coming to the conclusion.
Before we get into the conclusion,
Yeah,
I'm listening. I'm listening your presentation about this research. I think you have tons of effort and energies you conducted. I feel from this presentation.
thank you so much.
I don't want you to do this kind of research again.
Actually, it was my dissertation, so it was like my
Really?
work of my
Okay, I
entire.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it was my like real baby, I guess.
Okay. Oh, it's too much. Wow. I think
Thank you so much, Professor Ku.
probably yeah is the beginning researchers or early researchers they put their energy and the effort into the big research the concept and conducting the two types of like a interview and the survey test, and then pretty much a large boundary comparison between FMV tourism and then accommodation. Actually, I know that how you uh, uh, spend your time and efforts, but
I was happy doing it.
if in this kind of paper, uh, submitting to the journal and probably you will receive a lot of the attack from the reviewer as well.
I hope not. But still, there are quite a lot of limitations, which I will discuss. But I was very happy about
The
when I
paper
found
is
like
published at IJHM, right?
one is in IJHM, and the second paper was subjected in IJCHM, and it's actually
Good.
being impressed. Yeah, I
Wow.
was so happy. Thank you. So, thank you. So we
I understand.
conceptualized. So happy.
This paper
Thank you
is
for.
reminder of my pastime.
Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you. So we conceptualize technology experience as consumers' holistic assessment their interactions with hospitality and tourism technology.
Holistic.
And then we found that there are 9 dimensions that are collectively representing technology experience, the higher concept. We found the positive impact of technology experience on overall experience, thereby affecting satisfaction and behavior intention. Lastly, we found the divergent technology experience across the different sectors of the industry. So hope this study provides some theoretical implications. So it was the very first attempt understanding consumers' technology experience. So we used multiple sources of data and mixed method. So we were able to conceptualize and technology experience and empirically validate technology experience. So it provides some theoretical contribution to current knowledge of consumer behavior related to technology. And we know that technology is not the core product of the industry, but we found that it still have a significant impact on consumers' overall experience. So we kind of show that the interplay between different experiences. And we found a distinctive technology experience across the sector. So it further supports that each sector of the industry has distinctive characteristics, but still interrelated. So that are our theoretical contribution. And then practical contribution. We know that the industry has shifted from human to human interaction. Now we're talking about contactless services. That means that now many services are provided by technological medium. So we conceptualize technology experience. Now the industry may be able to have a clear understanding of consumers' technology experience in this digital era. We provide the empirical measurement for technology experience. We have 9 dimensions. So they can actually use those scale to explore like what is their strengths or weaknesses. And that being said, they can effectively allocate their resources to specific dimension that needs further attention. Like this is my weakness, I need to put more effort. And Also, we found that the technical experience can affect overall experience. So they can actually conduct important performance analysis as well, based on the impact on overall experience. So they can focus more on those dimensions. Also, lastly, we found the types of technologies used by the sector actually are different. And then the significance of experience is also different. So that being said, the industry can prioritize those technologies to enrich consumer experience. Like as I mentioned, in the accommodation sector, booking and reservation apps were most popular. And also in accommodation, pragmatic experience, which is related to usefulness and usability, were most influential factor. So in that case, they may prioritize their investment in those booking apps to make pragmatic increase, which will affect their consumers' overall experience. There are still quite a lot of limitations. Like I mentioned before, we consider all those various technologies in general, mainly because they have different penetration rate, and then some consumers did not explain something, and then when we go there, when we travel, we use different technologies for sure, right? This app, that app, and then like what is the Samsung Pay, I guess. I use Apple Pay though, but all those NFC, and we use all those different technologies, right? So at the beginning, we just consider as a whole, but like Professor Ku mentioned, consumers' technology experience might be dependent on the specific type of technology. So future studies may consider identify the types of technology based on the characteristic. Maybe they do some cluster analysis and then focus on that technology group to understand consumers' technology experience with that specific technology group. And second, we did not consider the different purposes of using technologies. Like let's say I found a robot, maybe I'll use it because it looks like interesting. Like that looks like robot, like something in the movie. Versus Professor Ku may use the robot because it's more efficient. So we have different purposes that may affect consumers' experience. So maybe the researchers will may consider their purposes of using specific technology. Also, lastly, our sample was limited to US because I studied in the US. So, and then like based on the culture, you all know that the culture value by Hofstede, right? So like let's say in China, they are very tech savvy. Everything like even like those people like begging for money, they use their QR code to get money. So like they are very tech savvy versus still in the US, people more value human interaction. So their technology experience might be different by the culture. So cross-cultural study will be very desirable to increase the generalizability of the study.
Wow.
That's pretty much all for today. Thank you.
Okay.
If you have
So,
any questions, feel free to.
thank you very much. You did a great job, and so surprising you conducting such a vast amount of time and spend and writing good paper and dissertation successfully published in a decent journal. Oh,
Thank you so much.
And based on this foundation, research, I think it's now AI era and the robot and metaverse comes to our life, and those three things will be evolutionized into one dimensions, and probably the 9 criteria and the classification experience will impact each way and differently and contextually. So
yes.
I think something is a parallel emotional impact or serial impact, or in other way. 100 years ago, like in psychology, they focusing on when people perceive things, they try to figure out emotion first and the physiological effect later, or sometimes physiological impact in advance and then emotion comes to follow. That's the research 100 120 years ago in psychology in America. Probably in these days, technology like utilitarian approach is quite impactful to way of living in life and business. But emotion is pretty much becoming much more important. Okay, embedded experience. I don't know is possible or not. Embedded experience in sort of things. Anyway,
agree. Yeah.
Wow, it's a great research, and I want our students to ask anything about research and as well as other stuff. Feel free to ask her. It's a great chance to talk with. Okay, Iheon, please go ahead.
Thank you for your lecture. And I, as a UX user experience researcher, and I am a user experience researcher and service strategist, so I have some good idea from your lecture, because the various aspects of the hospitality and tourism experience, and I ask again. I got some good idea, because you give some various aspect of hospitality and tourism experience. So this can be start with the new service or travel application idea. So it was a good start point, I guess. But I have some two questions. I think unique and familiar dimension can be conflict. So which case can be together? And also, what difference between unique and familiar dimension and emotional dimension? I think it can be together. So I have these two questions.
Oh, yeah, very good question. Actually, like I mentioned, we consider all those different technology in general. So when we give the survey, we were like, oh, you mentioned that you have used this technology. So they are not measuring only one technology. So they are measuring their experience with all those technology. So it is possible that unique experience is high because they think about like robot might be unique. But on the other hand, they also need to measure mobile experience at the same time. So in that case, familiar will be also high. So theoretically, they should be off budget if we are only measuring one specific type of technology. But when it comes to general sense of technology, it can emerge together. Also, of the second question, like emotional experience and unique familiar experience can be like emerge, like can be one.
Yeah.
So the aspect is a bit different, because unique and familiar is like you know it, you're used to it. But like if the fact that you're used to it does not like it's not the same with your emotion, like you're not happy. So you're used to it, but you may not have any emotional aspect. But like you can have emotional aspect and then you're just familiar or you're new to this. So the cover is a bit different.
Okay. Yeah, I can. Yeah. I think I can. Yeah, it can be different. Yeah, can be different.
Yeah. Also, like I mentioned, we just consider all those different technology as a whole when we did the survey. If you focus on specific technology, some dimension might not be the true dimension of technology experience when it comes to that technology. Like for AI, ChatGPT, maybe familiar experience might not emerge, or there is no sensorial experience because like you're only just verbally communicating, right? You don't have any like kind of visual because you see, but it's not really auditory or like haptic or olfactory stimuli at all. So it depends on the technology.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can actually selectively use it after you focus on one technology. Then the dimension will be different.
Okay.
Thank you.
For me, when I use ChatGPT, ChatGPT is pretty much text-based until now. However, I feel like emotional experience larger than the cognitive experience. because the
Ooh.
information processing is true. But however, feel like human-like conversation, and I think, wow, this is a kind of a sharing emotion and then sharing something. Wow, it's too polite and too human-like conversation. So wow, beyond the information value, and I feel emotional, experience from the ChatGPT.
Yeah, also I get some kind of emotional value when I talk to Siri. Because like sometimes I just talk to Siri, is it like raining tomorrow? I'm like, oh, I don't like it. I'm like kind of depressed. And then like feels like she's helping me with my emotions. So I also get emotional value.
And these days, ChatGPT 4.0 provide the image generation,
Oh yeah.
which is awkward to me. too, too, too
Yeah, like
much.
the image generation. Yeah, actually we
Okay.
are not in Hong Kong, ChatGPT is not available. So
Oh, I see.
yeah, well, I could ask other people to check. I mean, it seems like interesting. So I also get emotional experiences.
Okay, other student, please. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Professor Singh. I'm Sue. Thank you for insightful your presentation. I was so happy to having your research idea and got a lot of insight from your presentation. My question is related to one of your research result, which is the comparing the 9 dimension into the industrial section, like accommodation, F&B, and tourism. And you use the ANOVA as an analytical method. In your previous presentation slide, you presented like in your research model, each of dimension has something like having an interaction each other.
Thank you for your question, Sue. I don't think I have interaction terms in my model. Actually, it is better to conduct multi-group analysis to see the different effect of each dimension. But my company multi measurement invariance of composite variable that did not only support the pressure invariance. And then it's still okay to see the use the multi-group analysis, but when I look into it, the mean difference and variance difference was not really negligible. It seems like pretty high. So it's actually when I run the MGA, this difference was insignificant. While pathwise was different. Some are significant, some are insignificant. So rather than just using MGA, which will give you insignificant result, we just look at the ANOVA to see the mean values, like what are their actual experience, what are actual evaluation of those all dimensions. So that was why we used ANOVA rather than MGA. Also, in our manuscript, because I had only limited time, I could spend like 3 hours talking about this research, but we also explain what might be the reason why this path is significant in this sector and this is not significant in this sector. So I actually elaborate more later in the manuscript.
Oh, I see.
Later when I get the in print, I can share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? So like a group classification, and we may use the group classification for moderating effect. But exactly, but we better focusing on the interaction effect and multiply between variance and variable to variable. There's more accurate and then feel like more sense. But in this case, she classified 3 sections of industry, so it's possible, classification, test. Okay, and who else? Questions? Okay. What?
Hi, Professor. Thank you for your presentation. And I'm just beginner researcher. It's just basic question. I'm curious about as the presentation phase 3 survey collection time, there was 63 items, right?
62 items in phase 3.
62 items. I think I'm just beginner, but I think it's really big scale study. It was really big scale study, I think. So
Yeah, it is.
yeah. So so how you are able to control so many items, and you encounter any challenges along the way?
Sorry, Hannah. Actually, I couldn't really hear you clearly. It's like echoes. Sorry.
How you were able to control so many items?
Is
How
it
did
only?
you compose so many items?
How did I come with the? How did I come up with this variable?
Yeah.
Is that your question?
Yeah.
So we started with a literature review to identify the potential dimensions from the literature, and then we were pretty sure that it's not enough. So we conducted 2 focus group discussion so that we can identify those dimensions not really found in the literature review. So there were like 4 more dimensions coming up from the focus group discussion. Like they literally mentioned, oh, that was like very futuristic. It's not like what I usually expect from my day-to-day life. So that became unique experience. And then one is like, oh, I could save more money. It's like same thing, but when I use technology, it's cheaper. So I made my whole trouble affordable. So that became economical experience like that. So we actually came up with those themes from focus group discussion and literature. Yeah, I have to admit that it's like really complicated, complex construct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. It's a good question, actually. As a beginner's researcher, too many construct. Actually, she critiques your research, too many construct.
That's true. We also, one of the reviewer mentioned that psychological property should be simple as possible. But what we argued was that if the concept cannot cover all those aspects, then what's the point? Like if we can use the existing measure like with 5 dimensions from previous studies or 4 dimensions from previous study, it's the same. What is the point of developing new scale and then extending the understanding of consumer behavior? The contribution of this study is that even though it's a bit complex, we identify 4 more dimensions that is specific to technology interaction. So even though it's a very complex and a lot to cover, but we think there is still a contribution from this skill.
Anyway, we can report to her papers when we need to know the experience, diverse experience about technology. Okay. Who else? If not, go. Okay.
Okay. First of all, thank you for your interesting lecture. And I'm sorry, my camera has problem. So my question is, which of 9 technology experience have a great influence on state fiction depend on AI technology?
Like specific to AI technology or in general? Specific to AI technology, actually, we cannot really say in general, because we consider it as a general technology, emotional experience was the strongest on overall experience in all 3 sectors. But because we did not distinguish different technologies, we are not so sure if emotional experience is most influential on overall experience only in AI context. So thank you for giving me future research direction as well.
She also master degree students just beginning her research. It's a good, insightful, you answering for her.
Really good question. Because like all dimensions, like they are all the dimensions of technology experience, but they have different weight indeed. So I think it's a really good question.
Yes,
Thank you.
because we are caught with AI and robotic the technology now. So for master degree, the first semester, she may wonders how AI and the robot react and respond to the emotionally or cognitively or other way. Probably I asked her to review your paper and then take some the necessary dimensions for AI out of your holistic 9 construct.
Thank you. Speaking of AI, so like it might depends on the type of AI as well, because now we have like, oh, why am I share screen? So like speaking of AI, we have like different types of AI nowadays. Like we have like big mechanical AI, we have thinking AI, and now we have feeling AI. So depending on the AI type, consumers response to those AI might be different as well.
Yes, right. It's time to do research on that point.
Yes.
Different types of AI, different types of robot, different types of service automations, definitely react to the users and giving to the users a different, dimensions of experience. But it's different experience comparing to the past one.
Yeah,
because the past one is just automation and kind of a processing technology. But these days, AI is a kind of a reasoning and thinking and act like conversation, human-like conversation. So it's very different from the past, information technology. So probably we need to further the exact and deep the experience, how arise from those kind of experience.
Also, what I thought during the process, because AI at the moment, like AI in 2020 or 2021 and AI now are so different. So there might be that there is need for like continuous testing toward consumers' response to AI, because it might be different. Now, like at the beginning of ChatGPT, maybe people found it very unique, right? And then maybe like in 5 years, they found it like very familiar, or AI develops like super fast and reaching singularity, then still they find it unique. So I think temporal general externality, it will be also very interesting study.
That's right. My thought. Like in terms of a singularity, before singularity, so AI is kind of a machine, but after singularity is kind of a humans, much more human-like. Then the experience will be hugely different to the users. Singularity means it's a surpassing to human capability. So AI is a surpassing human intelligence, and we feel like AI is above the humans. That's the meaning of the singularity. Okay, any students? Any questions? Okay. Okay, if you're not, I will ask you. And Dr. Shin, you are one of the active researcher in hospitality and tourism sector and the field in academia. What is the hottest topic these days, and what is the research methodology you currently try to use, and how to compose your research group for your research? It's very essential part, 3 part. What is the methodology? What is the topic? What is the teams? Please give me the tips.
You have more tips than me, but if I may,
I'm trying to catch up you.
Regarding the topic, I think AI is the most. This for a certain time it was like metaverse and AI. Now I think it's really AI is the hottest topic. Research methodology. I see the shift in research methodology, like preferred methodology. Like for like 2 years ago, we all use SEM. Now it seems like people are more toward to experimental design, like focusing on causal relationship. But like in my opinion, the methodology should be depending on your research purpose and research question. So like I use both experiment, SEM, data, like text mining or so, depending on the purpose I want to achieve. So it really depends. So like if I may like have privilege of giving a tip, try to learn as many methodology as possible. You don't know what you're gonna use. And research team. Oh, that's a big question. Like there are some people like having similar interests, and then we all have different strengths. So I guess like if we have like similar interests, then we can just work together. Like Dr. SHIN, we are in the same area, so we work together. Also, the former student of my advisor, like Dr. Mi-young Jang, like Dr. Minu Lee, he's a former student of Dr. Mi-young Jang. We work together because we have the same interest, and also because we learn from the same advisor, we also have similar research habit. So I think that's a good thing. Now later, after I came to PolyU, now I'm trying to extending my network. So I work with Dr. Vincent Tong next door to me because we have like interest in consumer experience. So that was why we had a paper about robot experience as well. So I think you can find like more people having the similar research interest, and then you can develop your network. That's my thought.
Okay. And any question from student side? No? Okay, go ahead.
In the conclusion part, you mentioned you will need to compare cross-cultural studies. So if so, have you ever considered which countries you would like to compare?
If there are any country I want to compare?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to compare China and US first, because China has very like technology-oriented culture, but also they also have very strong Asian context. And then US, they really value like human interactions. Even though they're technology, they prefer talking to human. When I lived in the States, like there was some kind of difference. So those two countries, probably the first attempt for me to compare. And then maybe we can extend like within the Asia, we can further compare between like Korea and China, because even though we're in Asia, we have different distinctive culture. So probably that's the next step. Thank you.
Okay, my question. You are in the Hong Kong, belonging to China, mainland China. You were studying in the US. It's a quite different country and different culture, different approach to the hospitality industry and the tourism industry. So what is the biggest advantage for you? You are in Hong Kong, and what is the disadvantage in Hong Kong?
Biggest advantage is like everybody's using technology, so easy peasy. Biggest disadvantage, I don't speak Cantonese. So like in the States, we have small talk, because also I'm from southern part of US. We're like, oh, hey, sweetheart, talking to each other, like just chit chat. But now, like the fact that I don't speak Cantonese block all those human interaction. So I think that's one of the biggest advantage. But as a researcher working on technology, I see it because Hong Kong is aiming for smart tourism destination. We have a policy about that. So all those like transportation, all those are very smart system. So I like exploring those, but still missing human interaction is a bit of a disadvantage, I guess. But that's because I don't speak Cantonese.
So, as far as I know, the Chinese research capability increases so speedy, and their networks and their capability is greatly improved comparing their past time. And their network connecting with the in the US Chinese the researchers. So what the position? What do you think about the Kyunghee University as a position? How can we respond and react toward the kind of a big the competition?
Oh, that is really difficult question, Professor Ko. Well, I think that's real difficult.
Uh.
I think Kyunghee University also have like good alumni and then like amazing professors out there. So as long as like we keep working on our research and then like people come to Kyunghee University and they ask for collaboration and then being more competitive. Just my 2 cents.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
That was very difficult question.
actually, the Hong Kong Poly U is one reading school in our section, and they are pretty much doing greatly lecture and research as well, and they hiring very good early researchers, and developing very well, and education and training very well. So I'm as a kind of a leader of Korea and leader of the Kyunghee University, I have to take a look closely how the Hong Kong Poly U doing their work well. So it's always I'm kind of jealousy how the leadership of Hong Kong, K-Chan, is enormously well supporting the researchers and early students and then assistant professors. So
Actually, what I like a lot about PolyU is
Mm.
that we have like almost every semester we have like visiting professors like who are very eminent in the research. And then
Okay.
we get to talk to them, and then as a junior researcher, we get to talk to them and ask for advice, and then we like learn a lot from them. And then we have
Okay.
almost like seminar almost every week by like professors, and then like not just for students, like all the colleagues are going there and
Yes.
learning and exchanging our ideas. So I
Yes.
think this is one of the good thing about Hong Kong Poly U.
Yes.
That we really like the seminar. We learn from each other.
Oh, sure. So that's why I'm designed this kind of the international seminar for not only for students but also the professors. But professor, they don't come here. Okay. So we have 5 minutes left. Could you advise us how to position and how could you advise us, not including me, for which part focus on further and then your experiences through your 10 years so far in academia. So
can you repeat that question again, sir? Sorry, I didn't quite
okay,
catch it.
you are in the about 10 years in academia, and you have your own idea. And what is your recommendation for me or for our students to proceed and conduct well in academic life and professionally, whatever? And if you have
I don't know. I don't think I have any recommendation for you, Professor Ko, because you are like there. If I may, but like it's not really academic related, but I think like you need to have a good health to maintain your academic productivity. Because like when you're not feeling well, you cannot really focus because the research is like a marathon, and then you constantly thinking about your research. And then you are not in a good health, you cannot really think well. It's brain is not braining. So I guess like taking care of your health will be one thing you may consider to be more academically sustainable.
And also, could you advise our students how to maintain the research capability?
how to maintain research capability. I'm just small potato. So how do I maintain my research capability? Is like I actually I built my routine from my PhD times. So when I come to office, like during my PhD, I go to my office like the latest 7:30 in the morning, and then the first thing I do is like I'm not like pushing students to do that, but like I have the kind of routine. So I went go to my office, and then I read the industry articles to see what's going in the industry and then what is
Okay.
like what's the hot topic, and then
Industrial article. Okay.
yeah, try to find some ideas from industry article, and
Sure.
then like kind of think about it, and
Mhm.
also have to block some time to go through like top journal publications to
Okay.
catch up with that. And
Okay.
then like I try to write a certain amount of words every day.
Uh-huh.
Because like if I postpone it, like it's gonna be forever.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think trying making your own routine might be helping
Own
you to
routine.
your
Yeah.
capability, I guess.
Yes. That's very good advice
Thank you.
to our students. It's important. First of all, look at the current situation and current phenomenon and from the industrial articles and paper, newspaper, New York Times, Washington Post, and whatever. They always bring the very good, fresh, phenomenon and ideas and things changing, sort of things. So we definitely have to understand the things going on and changing, shifting, paradigm shift sort of things. Second, you said is go through the academic papers.
Yeah,
Probably
because
up-to-date
while I was a
topic.
junior, I wanted to learn more about methodology and so
Mhm.
on. So I tried to during my PhD, because we take like limited classes, and then like what we learn is also like a part of it. So I just go through some papers to understand what the methodology is about and when it's used, and then some if there's some threshold to use it, then I actually went read it and then kind of develop my own cheat sheets to like use it like handy, make it handy. So that's just what I did. Not so sure it was successful or not, but just that was my habit.
So you said it's a habit and routine is important as well.
To me,
maintain
because
the health
I'm very
condition.
lazy. I'll just postpone till the end. So rather than like, okay, I'll just do it now.
No, it's kidding. You're surviving now in Hong Kong Poly. It means you're diligent. It
I
means
hope
you
not.
work hard. It means you're a workaholic.
Oh, not as like Dr. SHIN out there, like my opposite office. He's like lighthouse of SHTN.
Okay, Professor Hailey, SHIN, and thank you very much for today's lesson and seminars for our students and me. I'm learning from a lot from your presentation, and I'm so happy to see you as a professor, assistant professor, and very good school. And even though you are assistant professor, probably you will be a very good researcher near future. We are same, researcher and the professor, so learning from each other.
Thank you so much, Professor Ke, for inviting me. I'm very humbled to be here. I was just small potato, and I was glad that I was able to share my research.
Okay. So I look forward to see you in Yonsei University.
Oh yeah, I'll see you.
May. Okay.
Thank you
And
so
also,
much.
okay. Congratulations again, your personal, event.
Thank you so much, Professor Ke.
Okay. Okay, students, thank you very much for attending. And even though we are Labor Day, May 1st, think about it. You are not labor. You are creator, you are researcher, you are a leader of your life. So that's why you are attending these seminars. Okay, thank you very much. See you next week.
Thank
See
you.
you soon,
Have a wonderful day.
Dr. SHIN.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a
Bye.
great day. Thank you.